This technique is a video that shows cutting up your project and rearranging it in different ways. Now, I know a lot of people will not like to cut up a project that you spent a lot of time on drawing. So an option, if you decide to go this route, is taking a quality picture of your project. I have a printer I can print these out on, or if you have one at home, you could definitely do it that way. But printing out multiple pictures that you can then cut up for this project. But think about how you want to rearrange it, how you would cut it up. This one on the left could be an interesting style where you're cutting things into thin strips and then either moving some around into different places or sliding some up or down so they don't completely line up. Or maybe you cut them up into strips, put a little bit of spacing in between, or paint some of the strips different colors with watercolor. So be creative with the placement. This one on the right is using more squares, and if you're going this route, you might want to print it out twice, so you have maybe one still life in the background, and then the second one you print, you could cut out pieces to rearrange on top of it. And then here's one more example. I know it's a portrait, but maybe cutting out smaller pieces and spreading them apart or just rearranging them in a creative way. So there's a lot of routes you can go if you choose this technique. I'm going to go ahead and play this time-lapse video of an example that I did where I'm just cutting out small triangles and almost like a puzzle rearranging them, but I am leaving small gaps in between. So I'm just kind of lining things up. You might want to consider gluing them down as you go, because I did realize as I did this that they start sliding around and it's kind of hard to glue into place after the fact. But if you aren't sure how you want to arrange them yet, that's when you might want to wait to glue it, because you might slightly rearrange things or play around with the placement once you have the pieces cut out. I would also try to keep your shapes consistent, so maybe doing triangles and squares, or just all squares, all triangles, versus doing a whole bunch of different shapes. So keep it consistent. Change up the size. So I have a bunch of smaller triangles that I'm doing at the bottom, and this is to kind of create some movement in the piece that I can work my way down with. But at this point, I'm just using some glue, painting the back of these pieces with that glue. You could even just do a glue stick to place the pieces onto the paper here. But be creative. There's so many directions you can take this, maybe even replacing some of the pieces with cutout tissue paper, tin foil. So try to go above and beyond and come up with some interesting ways to cut up and collage and rearrange your project.